everyone. Welcome back to the Command Your Brand Show. I'm your host, Josh Silvestro, brand ambassador of Command Your Brand, where we talk to CEOs and founders and talk to them about getting on top-rated podcasts. Grab also our new book, the bestpodcastbook.com, called the Command Your Brand book. Check it out. It's amazing. I think you guys will love it. So in today's episode, I actually have a very special guest speaker. I'm always fascinated by this subject of marketing and how marketing works and people's take on it, because I know some people have different ideas about it. There's the right way, there's the wrong way. And, I think every one of us as an entrepreneur or as a leader of some kind, we always need some of that help of like, what is actually the right actions to do. So I like to introduce you guys to Mo, he has his business called the Launch Scale Agency. So Mo, thanks for joining the show, man.
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate that, mate.
Yeah. Awesome. So I love to just, chat with you. So for people who don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself and why did you start your company and where you come from anyways?
Interesting. So I'm coming from a pharmaceutical background. Mm-hmm. I have graduated from pharmaceutical university. And then I've just done it, to be very transparent, as a typical, coming from a typical Middle Eastern family. I'm originally from Egypt. My parents wanted me to become either doctor, scientist, lawyer, engineer. So yeah, I've just done pharmacy, but I always had passion into marketing and e-commerce. For no reason. That's basically where I felt my passion lies. So I just graduated, done some studies in marketing, business degrees, master degrees, went to Harvard, went to UCLA. But I have not done that from education perspective. So for those who are checking this, listening to this, they don't think I'm a nerd guru. No. I've just done that basically for the sake of making sure that my resume stands out. Mm-hmm. Nothing more than that. And then once done, I wanted to start a marketing company, working with e-commerce brands, supplement industry. And that's what I have been doing over the past 8 years.
Wow, amazing. And so what got you deciding to now it's the time to start a marketing company? Or what made you decide, I want to do this? This is what I'm so passionate about. I love to hear kind of stories like that.
Absolutely. So as I was basically learning more about business, marketing, finance, I felt the path that resonated with what I do was more about sales and marketing. But that is very broad. So I started working basically in different industries, not supplements as a first step. Started working with lawyers, doctors, PTs, different industries, e-commerces. And then here's the thing. When you start your own business, and maybe any startup listening that will understand, when you start, you don't really know what you need to focus on and what you shouldn't focus on. You know that you're good at this and you want to do it. But you don't know which and how good you are. It's really hard to tell. So that's what happened to me. Started jungling from one industry to the other. And then the more I get closer to the e-commerce industry, the more I felt like, okay, this is what I want to do. And then the more I started working within different e-commerce brands, within different industries, and then coming closer and closer to supplements, which massively correlates to my political background, marketing, I said, okay, it is working really well for me. I'm able to understand. I'm able to help. I'm able to tell brand scale, which we'll talk about down the line. And then I said, okay, this is what we need to focus on. But this is not where the name of the company comes from. As you may have noticed, my company is called Launch and Scale Agency. The reason why it's called that is because the only two things that we do are, number one, helping existing e-com brands scale. And the second thing, which is a bit interesting, is help investors launch the supplement e-commerce brands from A to Z, from the ground. As if basically you think about it like you want to have your own business, but you don't have any particular experience. So that's where we come in.
Yeah.
It's everything, from A to Z.
Wow, amazing. And so, for you, you've obviously done this for quite a number of years and you have a very big passion for it, right? Yeah. So for you, and a lot of people, I think one of the biggest troubles they have is how to actually market to people in the right way and scale it. I guess, could you give us 2 or 3 tips that you would give to people? What are the first things they should do in terms of launching and scaling?
So when it comes to scaling, number one, you must know your numbers. If you don't know your numbers, if you're going and following the trend, and when I say your numbers, I'm not saying the industry numbers. I'm saying your numbers. So for example, when we talk numbers, let me give you this quick breakdown, because maybe people don't know that. Generally speaking, when you have any business, mainly in the e-commerce, like I said, your net sales should be around 85%. That's why you will notice. That's what the norm is. 85% net sales, gross profit margin 55%, contribution margin 28%, and their EBITDA is around 8%. And if that's the case, then you should know that you're not walking in the right direction. Your EBITDA should be more of 20%. Your contribution margin should be a bit higher. So yeah, understanding your numbers is very crucial. Second tip, without the shadow of a doubt, you need to understand your customers inside out. I always say, if you want to do marketing, especially if you're a marketing agency, treat people's marketing as if it's your own marketing. That's the best tip I can give. Okay, so if you're basically in whatever business that is, and you want to focus on your marketing, make sure to understand your customer. And last but not least, understand what marketing avenue do you want to do? Because any marketing avenue falls under one of these three categories. There's no four, only three. Number one is paid, number two is earned, number three is owned. So whatever you pick, it will fall under one of these categories, whether it's you're going to pay for it, like running ads, yada, 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 or you're going to basically use your own assets to promote for your business. And last but not least is earned. Something basic like reviews, testimonials, that kind of a word of mouth. So once you understand these three fundamentals, then you should be good. That's what I would say if you want to start and scale. That's the most important part.
Right. And so for you, you've obviously helped a lot of people in terms of business and how to market and scale correctly. What are some mistakes that you've seen with other people? Because I know a lot of people, when they go into marketing, especially if they're doing their business for the first time, they're like, oh, what do I actually do? You know what I mean? And so what do you find is the most mistakes that people actually make when they do marketing?
Interesting question. Very interesting question. One of the things, and I will mention this because that happened to me 2 weeks ago, a brand came up to me and they do have shower gel, basically. And they said, we want to do marketing for our business. I said, great. And are you ready for that? They said, yeah, we have the capacity to produce 3,000, 4,000 units for that. And that's the number one mistake I always see across all industries, that they do not distinguish between the manpower and the marketing power. Because when I asked that entrepreneur about if they have the budget to promote all of their SKUs, all of their products, he said, no, I can't do that. And that's the thing. You always need to distinguish. Maybe you have the team, maybe you have the facilities, maybe you have the resources, maybe you have everything you need to help you produce how many products that you want on that. Okay, as you wish, that's fine. But you have the marketing power to promote each and every one of them. Right. As I mentioned to you earlier, supplements is basically our main bread and butter. And I can tell you without the shadow of a doubt that sometimes it takes over 14, 16 months just to scale profitably, no questions, using only one product for 12 to 16 months. Just one product. To scale it, and you put all of your resources before you seek investment, before you expand, before you do anything. That's usually a mistake. People go and they say, okay, I'm going to have 10, 15, 20 products, whether it's dropshipping, whether it's private labeling. And that's, I would say, the second mistake, mainly in the e-commerce industry. Someone has passion in, let's say, phone accessories. So they go and they speak to the supplier, and the supplier tries to convince them if they buy more, they will save more. What they do not consider at that point is the time that it will take to sell those products, and the time it will take to let those products stay on the shelves collecting dust. And what is sitting on the shelves is not product, it's cash.
Right.
And basically the value is not getting better as time passes. No, it is not appreciating, it's depreciating basically. So those are the main two mistakes people usually do when it comes to marketing. They do not distinguish between the marketing power and the manpower. And mainly for e-com brands, they try to buy more for the sake of saving 10, 15, 20, 30% without having proof of concept. And that will take me to the last mistake people often always do, which is, okay, now I know that I will have many products, as many as I will. Fine. I know it's going to work because I know everyone uses it. Okay, is that your argue to prove that there is a proof of concept for it? Because if that's the case, then this is a disaster. Because simply speaking, you have many people buy it, but that also raises competition. That means the suppliers also countless numbers of them to do that. And it doesn't mean that your neighbor is selling it, that you can sell it. You got my point? Like, it doesn't mean that this shop around the corner selling what you exactly want to sell, that you will exactly sell the same thing with the same quantity.
Interesting. It's kind of fascinating too, because, with marketing, it's always, I don't know for you, because you're the marketing expert. So like for people, I think they always assume like, oh, this is how it's going to work. Like they kind of already know it's going to work. Like I'm sure you've had clients of yours that just kind of went into your business. Like they felt like they just knew how to market. I don't know if you ever had that before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. CEOs with too many hats. I've seen that all the time.
Yeah. And so I guess for you, because like I know also too, like especially with the older generation, like, I'm 30, but like people who are way older than that, they have like their own set and they have like, this is how we're going to market and that's the only way it's going to work. Like I'm sure you've right across that with people.
Yeah.
Like what do you do with people? Like people like, I'll give an example. I had a guy one time who, loved the newspaper and like newspaper was like his thing. And so he's like, I have to promote in the newspaper. I don't care about social media. I really just care about newspapers. Like, what do you do to change the mindset of that? Because, as you get older, you kind of fixate on the mindset of like how I should market, but it may not be workable. What do you do with that?
Great question.
Yeah.
Simply speaking, I never try to change their attitudes. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
I never try to do that. Because the thing is, if you try to change someone's attitude, as you said, as they get older, maybe they will give you the yes, but throughout the journey, they will give you a hard time. So no, why would they change attitude? Are you coming to me? That's what I always say. When someone books a call with me, I always sense it. Are you trying to hire me to help you? Or are you trying to hire me to follow your orders? Do not try to be in the middle, because you can't be in the middle. Don't try to be like, I need an expert who does it exactly as I want it. No. It doesn't work like that. You need an expert to help you, to support you. Then that's fine. Let's put KPIs. Let's put a proper plan. Let's continue tracking basically the results on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, on a bi-weekly basis. Fine. But you need someone who follows your orders, also fine by me. But it can't be a hybrid. So if someone basically want to do newspapers, and I know there's 100%, and if we can do it, that's another thing. So if what you want matches with what we're expert at, we will do it. And what you mentioned is really great, because that correlates to one of the clients' big brands. And this brand basically generates over $20 million every single year. They wanted basically to focus more on basically within like the SMS space. They wanted to shoot around 500 to 1,000 SMSs a day. And I said, okay, it is not about that you can afford it or you can't afford it. It's about by doing that, the deliverables will not be there. People might not receive the texts at all. You might be blacklisted. You don't know the consequences of what will happen. So that's basically, we can do it, but I have shared with you the risk involved. Now, what do you want to do? And that's what most marketing agencies are scared to do. They say, if I will be very transparent with the client, they're going to fire us. And that's exactly what distinguishes good agency from bad agency. Good agency will always be upfront with their customers, will always share the pros and cons. And if anything is not possible, they will tell them it's not possible, and they will be very transparent with them. And they will always set the right expectations. The only thing distinguish good marketing gurus from bad marketing gurus is setting the right expectations. And that's the first complaint I always hear with new clients. They say, I have been working with such an agency and they have promised me the moon, delivered nuts. Every single time. About expectation.
Wow. And it's very fascinating, because I think also too, we live in an era where there's so many ways to market and to promote your product, whatever business you're in. What do you find? Because I know there's obviously social media, there's ads in different places. What do you find in terms of what you do? Because I know you're the marketing guy that I think of, who I want to market my product. Where is the best place to actually post stuff? Because it's kind of like there's so many options out there, but it's like what is the actual right one for the person? Like, how would you know what is the right one for me, or what's the right one for the next person?
Great question, and I get this question all the time. And the simple answer is, it depends on where your customer is. It's as simple as that. Simple. Tell me more about your customer. I tell you what you need.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Because as you said, there are so many tools. You know what? It's similar to going to any restaurant and they have maybe 50, 60 items on the menu. If you try to go through all of them, you'll get lost. Okay. Better is if you know what you want to eat. Similar to when you ask the waitress, basically, like, what is the best dish you have? They will never tell you the best dish. They will tell you, okay, are you vegan, vegetarian, halal, chicken, beef? And then from there, they will break it down.
Yeah.
So it's the same as that. It's similarly here. So yes, could be social media, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. But some businesses, they do not thrive well on social media ads. Like, for example, to give you an example, if we talk about the legal industry, if we talk about the medical industry, engineers, those industries, they work at real estate. They work better with organic content.
Mm.
So you better invest into your organic content. Make sure that you have nice editors. Make sure that you have perfect creative strategist who can basically not only set up the script for you, but also set up the directions, tell you what you need to say, how you need to say it, and then also speak with the editors, blah, 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 blah. So maybe that's where you need to invest most of your money in. Now, if we're talking e-commerce, then yes, absolutely, without the shadow of a doubt, you need to spend money on ads. Others, maybe the best thing would be email marketing. Others would be only influencers and affiliates. So it depends. But obviously, the more budget you have, and that's another factor to consider.
Right.
Telling me I'm limited on budget and my budget is this, then maybe running ads is the best. But if you can't afford it, then save the money. And that's another thing I always say. If someone approaches me with a very limited budget and they have a great product, shall we start? No. Okay, so what should I do? Try to generate income by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
By yourself. Once you have enough budget, let's do it. Let's do it. But don't try to say, okay, I can't do ads. Then let's try to find something else. You would be wasting money.
So what does your process look like when you evaluate someone that comes to you and they kind of go, okay, like I have this product or I have this e-commerce or I have this, and then they want to market it. Like, what does your process look like in terms of what the right path is for them?
So let's talk about the scaling part. So whenever we have that, first question is I try to understand more about the marketing history. What is your unique selling point? What distinguishes you from the competitors? How long have you been in the market? What people actually hate about you? What people actually love about your product? Try to understand about the history. Try to understand about the numbers. Try to understand more about their creatives. So what library of content that you have, which is something we must talk about. What content do you have? How much are you willing to invest? Do you know your numbers? And when I say by saying numbers, do you understand what is your CAC? What is your CPA? Do you understand what is basically your CTR? And I will explain those shortly as well, those abbreviations.
Yeah.
Do you understand basically how long it will take, how much basically, and how long it will take for your customer to stay with you so you can become profitable? Do you know if you make money from the first sale or second sale or third sale? What is your customer lifetime value? So the more questions, the more numbers I have, the better. And then accordingly, we move on to stage 2, which is the brainstorming and execution. Then we say, okay, that's the case. Now, what do you want to do? Okay, now this is how we can do it. Whether by basically managing the media buying, full aspects from Facebook, Instagram, TikTok Shop, and also this is an interesting point to talk about, or whether we should just focus more on email marketing, working with influencers, funnels, or whether we just focus on content creation or all of them together. It depends. And then we'll continuously keep tracking, implementing, updating the customer, always speak with them on a weekly basis, Slack, WhatsApp, emails, however they wish.
Yeah. And so how do you decide, like when you're looking at, let's say, social media or even just other platforms, how do you decide what's the actual best thing for them?
Most of the brands that we work with, they already have been in business for over 9 months or 10 months.
Yeah.
So they already know what is best for them and what is not best for them. By default, here's what I do. If the product by default is self-explanatory, and the moment you see it, the moment you know it, like it is obviously very clear. Yeah, we can do Facebook, we can do Google, we can do TikTok Shop, and I will tell you exactly shortly when to use each platform. Because this is really important for people to know when to use each platform. But if you're telling me that you're coming up with a new product, with the new benefits, with a new everything, I will never, ever encourage you to promote your business on Google, for example, because people will never search for what they don't know. You got my point? I know people will say, yeah, but within my industry, the cost per click is that, the conversion rate is that. Yeah, that's within your industry because your industry is well known. You're not inventing an industry. You're basically inventing a new product within that industry. So people will search for other stuff within your industry, but not yours. And maybe you need to focus more on either Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. It depends.
Yeah. And so I guess for like, for a lot of people who are in business, right? I think one of the issues they think kind of, I mean, I'm sure it probably goes along with it is when you market, you try to scale it correctly. And I think some people don't know actually how to scale correctly. And so you as the expert in terms of scaling, how does scaling, like what does it look like for you in terms of when you scale someone's product or service? Like what do you look for before that point of where it goes, wow, it's higher than usual? What does the process look like in terms of that?
I love that question.
I know.
Let me tell you. Yeah, it's a really interesting question. I love that. And let me tell you why. What most people do, first, let's explain what most people do when it comes to scaling. What most people do when it comes to scaling is they want to focus basically on three things, which is the utmost idiot things you need to focus on. Number one, they want to focus on ROAS. So I want to tell you, okay, how much I'm making, what's my return ad spend, okay, from every platform. Number two, what is my exact cost per customer acquisition? Okay, that's the second thing. Third thing, I want to find winning content as soon as possible. That's exactly what new brands do. Let me tell you what mature, profitable brands that we work with. And when I say basically brands that we work with, I'm talking about 8 and 9 figure brands. I'm talking about CVS. I'm talking about Boost. I'm talking about Symbiotica. I am talking about Organifi. I'm talking about Live Good. I'm talking about Huel, the supplement. I'm talking about big brands that we work with, not just basically someone who was just born yesterday. So these brands, when they scale, they play differently. So number one, they say, okay, let's tolerate higher CAC. That's what they focus on. Okay, they say, let's tolerate. We understand that our cost per customer acquisition now is a bit high, and let's tolerate that. And let's ask the right questions. Can we afford to tolerate higher CAC? How long can we extend CAC payback window? Meaning, if it costs you, let's say, $20 to acquire a customer, it costs you $20. And this 20 is going up and up and up from 20 to 30 to 50 to 60. You should not right away turn off the campaign because you need to understand what is your customer lifetime value. And that's the second thing that will help you determine if the campaign that you're running and if you're scaling in the right way or not. Because if you know that it kept going up and up and up to, let's say, $50, for example, from 20 to 50, great. But this customer usually stays with you for, let's say, 6 months. Okay, usually for 6 months. And they pay and basically they cost you 50. And basically, if you see how much, and let's say they pay you, so let's say they pay you 50 or 20 or 40 or whatever that is a month. Let's keep it 50. So, or let's keep it any number in your mind. Multiply by number by 6. And then you will notice that is profitable for you in this case. So if I know that my CAC is now $50, and I know the customer usually pays me $50 per month. So they're going to stay with you for 6 months. So that means they're going to give you $300. And it costed you $50 to acquire. So it went from 20 to 50 tolerated.
Right.
Because you're still profitable. 200 tolerated. Because you're still profitable. That's one of the things to consider as we scale. The second thing is very obvious, which is you need to know at what point you break even. So maybe the first, usually in the e-commerce industry, almost always, the first sale is loss. They never make money from the first sale. Second, they break even. Third, they start making profit. So when you consider all of that into mind and you start scaling, you scale quantity, not quality. Again, quantity, not quality. You never scale quality. No. It's like a lottery. Think of it like lottery. Okay, if you want to win the lottery game, you just don't go and get one ticket and then you pray that you will win. No, you try to buy as many tickets as possible, because the more you buy, the higher probability you will win the game. Same with scaling. You need to scale with as many content as possible, and keep pushing with quantity, as many as you can. Don't try to be picky at the beginning. No, keep pushing the content, okay, maybe it's 5 out of 10, do it. 6 out of 10, do it. Because maybe the next one will be 8 out of 10. It's impossible to keep making sure that everyone is 10 out of 10. And that's the difference between branding content versus performance-based content. Yes, with branding, I understand. It has to be 10 out of 10. And when I say branding, I'm talking about, let's say, Coke, McDonald's, Pepsi, Red Bull. Those basically ads when you see on the TV usually.
Right.
You like it, and it looks nice to you, it looks clean, neat. They're not there to convert. Okay, they are there just to create some brand consideration, awareness, make sure that the brand stays in your mind. So when you go to the website, check on them, then the website looks clean, the videos looks nice. They're not going to convert, but they help you in the decision-making process. And those ones, yes, you can make it 10 out of 10. But with the performance-based, no, it doesn't have to be 10 out of 10 each and every video, no.
Right. One of the things kind of interesting too is one thing I noticed is where people who try to scale and they're doing so well because it's like their first month or their second month or their first year and they're doing super well, and all of a sudden they stop doing what they're usually doing, like in terms of a campaign or anything of that such, or marketing, or they try to change it, it crashes immediately.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you're probably a stats guy who kind of looks at that every day, if not every hour of every second of every day.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that all contributes to that. So like, what do you like? When you have people who, let's say, are scaling, right, and they're actually, increasing day by day, week by week, month to month, and it's like almost to a high point of like you've probably 50x to what you've actually started with. What should people do with that? Should they just keep continuing what they do, or should they change something, or what do you think in terms of that? What should be done?
Great one. What you're talking about is called plateau. Mm-hmm. So basically, they keep scaling until they hit specific plateau. And that will take me to the first point that I mentioned earlier, which is how do you look into the business? Do you look at the micro numbers, or do you look at the holistic view, basically the overall view? One of the things that people should notice is you're running ads on TikTok Shop, but you're seeing your sales on Amazon.
Right.
You're running your ads on Facebook, but your Google product is getting higher. Okay, so this is what I mean. So before you say plateau, have we considered that? Because maybe Facebook, let's say, used to do 10 out of 10, and Google used to do 5 out of 10. But out of the sudden, Google has went to 20 out of 10, and Facebook has gone down a bit. But who told you that Facebook did not contribute towards your Google success? Okay, and I understand not everyone can understand these numbers, and there's specific software programs that can help you for that, like Triple Whale, like Hyros, like Northbeam. These tracking software platforms can help you understand more about the contribution and the attribution of your business. But let's say the worst case scenario, that everything is down. Because I understand if everyone is listening to this now, they might think, yeah, but everything now that I'm running is down. Not just Facebook, not everything is down. What should we do in this case? Great question. Simple answer: relaunch new creatives, relaunch new things. The product is not fatigued. It is always the creatives that are fatigued. It is never the product. It is always either the content, and here's the second thing that most people don't pay attention to, which is the offer. Some people believe that, okay, their offer is too good. No, it's not too good. Maybe you need to tweak it. Maybe you need to do BOGO offers. Buy one, get one free. Buy one, they get one, whatever that is. Maybe you need to start doing free shipping. Maybe you need to start basically doing whatever kind of offer that you need to do. So that's a thing. Another thing people don't consider, because they're too afraid to do, is raising price. They will tell you, if I raise the price, definitely people will not buy. Well, guess what? When we say that, we had a case study that increased their sales by over 32% by just increasing the price by less than 6%. It's simple as that. You can increase. Don't be afraid. Try it, because you're telling me it's going down. So you have nothing to lose. It's already not working. What else have you got to lose? I understand if you're telling me, no, it is working. I don't want to test if it's working. I agree with you. Never touch what is working. But it's already not working. Then you got nothing to lose.
Right. That makes total sense. Because I think a lot of people are scared of change and they're like, oh, this is working. Or they want to just try to make money as fast as possible or get their product out as fast as possible. And I think sometimes people don't realize, like, when you do marketing, it's kind of like a trial, I would think, right? Like you're just trying out to see what is working, what doesn't work. And once it works, then you have something that people latch onto.
Agree. And what I always say here
Yeah.
is iteration. How iteration is really important. And by saying iteration, I mean small tests to improve the outcome. Like what? Be more specific. Like changing that copy, changing the prices. As we're talking pricing, let's say product pricing, like raising the price sometimes usually leads to higher profit without lowering volume.
Yeah.
A new supplier might offer better terms or quality. So you can also try to find different suppliers, reviewing the income or expenses sheet to find the cost saving or margin growing opportunities, iterating the creatives themselves. So try to find the one that is working really well. And that's how it works in any content game. You find the one that's working really well and you start iterating, and have 5, 6, 7, 10 versions out of it once it works. What most people, new brands, mainly do, they do the opposite. They love to go to the content and they start creating iterations and start putting a lot of effort into it before making sure if it will work or not.
Interesting. Very interesting. And I'd love to also hear from you too, because I know you've probably done it so many people in marketing. You've probably corrected the goods, the bads, and also helped a lot of people in terms of their business. I would love to hear like some success stories you've had, like either your best story, your favorite story that just like, wow, I just helped this guy grow so much that like literally he made so much money from this one little change. I would love to hear a story from you on that.
We had a case study. And I remember this as if it was yesterday. The guy had a great product, like genuinely massively great. And he had the budget too. I'm not going to tell you he came to me broke. No, he had the budget, he had the product, and he didn't have any online or offline presence. He said, this is the product. We invested over 200K trying to get it patented, making sure that the quality is 10 out of 10, which is usually a mistake when you try to invest too much into hope it will work, into the hope it will become something big, right? Because not everyone can tolerate such a cost. But anyway, and he came to us. Pretty much it was zero, like there is no foundation. So we have set up each and everything from scratch, from even setting up pages, setting up each and everything, starting to partnering with influencers. It was like a 6-7 month journey just to start scaling. And then right after 7 months, now I think we're now almost approaching month 3. This customer has almost 4 to 5 investors to support the business. The business generates around 1.5 to 2 mil monthly, not annually. So good. I would say growing a business doesn't just rely on marketing. Marketing is one piece, but you need to make sure that the product itself is good. If the product is good, the offer is good, the supply chain is good, the suppliers you work with are good, the customer support team that you have are good, the 3PL, the third-party logistics who are responsible for handling, packaging, fulfilling the orders, are doing things in time. Now, if you have the complete chain, then you succeed. Focusing just on one aspect of the chain usually would make it very hard for you to scale.
Right. Wow, that's amazing. I really like that. I think that was kind of a big turnaround, I'm sure, for that individual, just on how you created not just the marketing, but also how you just changed a lot of their how they operate, pretty much, on how to sell their business, because now it's like making over $2 million a month.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Mo, I really appreciate the time you've given us. And I asked a lot of questions. I know you're a really busy guy, so I really appreciate the time you've given us in asking a lot of these questions about how to market, how to scale. I think a lot of us can really use that, especially this day and age where, there's a lot of uncertainty of how to market and how to scale. So I really appreciate the time you've given us on that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And of course, I thank everyone here for listening to this. If you guys like this stuff, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. And of course, if you want to check out Mo, where can people find you anyways? That's a good question. I would like to ask people that.
Best way is if, let's say, they have their own account and they would like me to help with, find me on Audit with Mo. So audit, AUDIT, with then Mo, MO.com. Just
Awesome.
click that link and then I will speak with you directly myself.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. And I really appreciate, guys, everyone who's listening to this. If you guys, again, like this stuff, and if you guys like Mo, check him out. I think he is great product and I think his service is unbelievable. So check him out. And everyone else who's listening, I will see you next time. And thank you so much, Mel, for joining.